Welcome to the Daily Videcasting. Today, the AI infrastructure hits a massive physical power wall. Google's flagship model faces a collapse crisis, and scientists just used AI to successfully engineer completely novel, viable viruses.
Yeah, it is a huge, huge day on the wire.
I mean, we are so glad you're here. If you're listening right now, you know how fast the ground is shifting beneath our feet.
Absolutely.
And our mission on this deep dive is simple. We are taking the absolute raw wire of today's biggest market and culture shifts, and, well, we're synthesizing it for you.
Right, separating the signal from the noise.
Exactly, so you can understand what's actually driving the future.
And let's establish the lens we're using to look at this raw wire today, because while everyone else is, staring open-mouthed at the shiny new AI models.
Oh, the endless press releases.
Right, the endless press releases about billions of parameters. I am looking strictly at the second-order effects.
Which is what you always do.
I try. I want to know who is losing money, who is about to get regulated into oblivion, and, most importantly, who is actually paying for the electricity to keep this entire illusion running.
That focus on electricity is, honestly, the perfect place to start today. Let's look at the physical constraints of AI, because they're suddenly dictating which enterprise giants will even exist, like 5 years from now.
Yeah, the physics always win.
They really do.
Yeah.
There's this viral post today from @Chamath, and he is arguing, point blank, that power is the binding constraint.
Not GPUs.
Right, not GPUs, not the model architectures. He says data centers are literally shutting down because they can't get juice.
Wow.
Compute spot rates are surging, and the only metric that matters now is energized capacity.
It is about time the market woke up to this reality, honestly. Chamath dismisses all the fanciful corporate plans, the future forecasts, the behind-the-meter setups, the distributed battery dreams as just, well, noise.
Yeah, just PR, basically.
Exactly. If you look at the second-order effect here, the entire value creation stack has been completely inverted. It is now ranked strictly by who actually owns the power.
So walk us through that stack.
Sure. At the top, you have the hyperscalers, think Amazon, Microsoft, Google, because they actually have the capital to go buy nuclear plants.
Right.
Then you have the neoclouds, companies like CoreWeave or Iron. And then at the absolute bottom, just totally vulnerable, are the standalone model makers. If they do not vertically integrate right now, they will die.
Hold on. For the listener who, only knows the big names like Amazon, AWS, what exactly separates a neocloud from a hyperscaler in this context? Like, why are they second tier?
It really comes down to real estate and the grid. Hyperscalers own the land, the buildings, and the direct lines to the utility companies.
Oh, gotcha.
Neoclouds like CoreWeave, they're essentially specialized landlords for GPUs. They buy thousands of NVIDIA chips and rent out the computing power.
Which was a great business a year ago.
Oh, highly lucrative when chips were the bottleneck. But now, chips are getting easier to find. The bottleneck is the plug on the wall. Neoclouds are incredibly vulnerable because they don't own the underlying power infrastructure at the scale a Microsoft does.
That clarifies it. But I want to push back on this idea that vertical integration is, like, the only path forward. Isn't vertical integration just a polite corporate term for building a monopoly?
Right.
Because look at the example that Tesla owners SV just highlighted today. Tesla's Terafab down in Texas.
Right, the mega factory.
Yeah, this joint Tesla-SpaceX mega factory. It's designed to produce 1 terawatt of AI compute capacity annually. And Elon Musk confirmed 25% goes to Optimus robots and 75% to AI spacecraft.
Yep.
When one guy owns the factory, the chips, the power, and the end product, how is that healthy for the market?
Whether it's healthy or not is irrelevant to the physics of the situation, honestly. I mean, a terawatt is 1 trillion watts.
It's unfathomable.
It is an incomprehensible amount of energy. You cannot build a terawatt data center by asking local utility boards for permission and, hoping a neocloud rents you space.
Right.
You have to build it from the dirt up. Musk is doing exactly what Chamath is preaching. He is securing the foundational layer, the energy, so his standalone products, the robots and spacecraft, aren't starved of compute later.
Man, so if the physical power grid is deciding the winners on the hardware side, that is creating a massive ripple effect in enterprise software. We are seeing a tale of 2 completely different realities today.
Oh, absolutely.
Take it, Levy, the CEO of Box. He just pointed out Atlassian's massive quarterly beat. I mean, their stock jumped 37% after hours.
Insane move.
Huge. And he argues that people thought AI agents would destroy traditional project management software. But actually, because AI agents are generating like 100 times more code and data systems of record take, the software that handles governance and compliance are suddenly more vital than ever.
It makes perfect sense if you think about the mechanism of how corporate work actually happens.
How so?
If you have autonomous agents vomiting out millions of lines of code or, thousands of documents every hour, human oversight becomes mathematically impossible.
You just can't keep up.
You can't. You absolutely need platforms like Atlassian to manage the expanded workflows, the data access permissions, the audit trails. The mess gets bigger, so the companies selling the digital mops and buckets get richer.
The digital mops and buckets, I love that.
Yeah.
But contrast that massive success with what's happening to the actual AI creators.
Yeah, this is the flip side.
Right. Adam Malik posted about an astonishing crisis inside Google right now with their Gemini Frontier model. Google has these captive enterprise customers, massive corporations locked into the Google ecosystem.
Yeah.
And Google is actively pushing them back toward the older Gemini 3.1 Pro model because the newer stuff is failing miserably at advanced coding and agentic tasks.
This is the exact nightmare scenario we've been worrying about on this deep dive for months. Model collapse.
Tell us about the mechanism there.
It's fascinating, really. LLMs are trained on human data. But as the internet fills up with AI-generated text, the new models are increasingly being trained on synthetic data generated by other AIs.
Right.
Statistically, an AI tends to outcome the most probable average response. It trims the weird, creative, complex outliers. So if you train a new AI on that average output, the bell curve of knowledge narrows.
Oh.
It becomes digital inbreeding. Over successive generations, the model loses its ability to handle complex logic and starts hallucinating wildly.
So let me see if this analogy tracks for you. Is this like building a massive, chaotic superhighway of AI-generated data, but Google's toll booths are breaking down because they used cheap synthetic concrete to build them?
I like where this is going.
And meanwhile, Atlassian is just getting rich selling the traffic management systems and insurance policies to the cities dealing with all the pileups.
That is a phenomenal way to look at it. Google is trapped. They delayed the Pro updates, their deep think modes are losing context, and their captive enterprise users are footing the bill.
It's a rough spot to be in.
Meanwhile, competitors like Meta, who open source their models, or xAI, who aren't burdened by legacy enterprise contracts, they're running laps around them because they aren't forced to serve a million cautious corporate clients with a collapsing model.
Well, and if Google's walled garden is structurally unsound, it completely explains why developers are currently terrified of getting locked into the next monopoly.
Yeah.
Which brings us out of the macro enterprise struggle and right into the developer trenches.
Yeah, it's getting bloody down there.
The fight over how these AI agents operate is getting vicious. At OpenAI Devs just announced a new open standard called Agent Plugins. It's backed by AWS, Cursor, GitHub, and Vercel.
All the big names.
Right. And a developer at OpenAI, at Thusio, is pitching this as the holy grail. It's a portable directory format. Build your AI agent skill once and deploy it across any compatible client.
It sounds incredibly utopian until you actually read the technical specs, and then the cynicism kicks in immediately.
Naturally.
A prominent developer at Thusexar completely shredded this announcement today. He calls it a thin standard.
Explain what makes a standard thin to a listener who, doesn't write code for a living. Why is that an insult?
A robust standard dictates exactly how something works across the board, like how a USB plug works in any computer. You plug it in, it works.
Right.
A thin standard only standardizes the absolute bare minimum, like the label on the box. In this case, the agent plugin standard only dictates discovery and packaging, literally just how the file is named and found.
That's it.
That's it. All the actual valuable mechanics, how the agent gets permission to read your files, how it distributes data, how it interacts with the specific client interface is completely left out. That code still has to be written specifically for each proprietary platform.
Oh, wow. He specifically calls out Vercel's involvement as suspicious, right? But wait, earlier you were praising Elon Musk for monopolizing power to build his products.
Yeah.
Why is Vercel trying to build an ecosystem standard a bad thing?
Because Vercel doesn't even make an end-user AI agent. Musk is building the power plant to run his own robots. Vercel is trying to write the rules for a game they aren't even playing. The XCXer points out this is a corporate land grab.
So they want to be the toll booth.
Exactly. Vercel wants to control the ecosystem standard so they can act as the gatekeeper and extract rent from developers down the line without doing the hard work of building a universal agent themselves. It basically creates a bureaucratic nightmare for developers under the guise of open source.
Man. Well, while developers are fighting over who controls the plumbing, the actual capabilities of the water flowing through the pipes are exploding, and it is vaporizing business models.
It really is.
At Polymarket and tech analysts at Weinbach noted that starting tomorrow, OpenAI is granting unlimited text chats with their new GPT 5.6 Luna model for all free and go users. No usage limits whatsoever.
That is not a product update. That is a scorched earth market strategy.
It really changes the landscape.
Yeah.
Sam Altman at Sama confirmed the stats. The premium version, 5.6 Sol, has 68% fewer factual errors in high-stakes domains, like finance and law.
Which is a massive jump.
Massive. And the free Luna model drops errors by 62%. And the mechanism driving this drop is a new think button that forces the model to use chain-of-thought reasoning before it answers.
If you are an entrepreneur listening right now, you need to deeply internalize what this means.
Yeah, listen up.
OpenAI just handed 1 billion weekly users unlimited, highly accurate, reasoning-capable AI for free. That vaporizes the business model of thousands of mid-tier AI wrappers overnight.
Poof, gone.
Gone. If your entire startup was charging $10 a month for a custom interface that, like, summarizes PDFs or drafts marketing emails using OpenAI's API, you are out of business tomorrow. OpenAI is commoditizing the intelligence layer to force everyone directly into their native app.
Which begs a really uncomfortable question. How do we even measure the intelligence of this layer anymore? The traditional benchmarks are completely breaking down.
It's useless.
The official code account for VS Code showed off Kimi K3 today. This is Moonshot's OpenWeight model, hosted by Fireworks AI.
And just to clarify for the audience, OpenWeight means the mathematical parameters of the trained model are available to download and run yourself. But the company keeps the original training data and the training code a secret.
Right, so it's not fully open source, but highly accessible.
Exactly.
And in their demo, this Kimi K3 model autonomously builds a fully interactive Japan trip planner, designs the user interface, deploys it to GitHub pages, and sets up the deployment pipeline. It's entirely agentic.
Incredible.
And meanwhile, at AI at Meta, announced their latest models just scored perfect theory scores on the Asian and International Physics Olympiads. Pure reasoning, no calculators.
And yet it's mostly theater.
Perfect physics scores.
Static test theater. This is why the most important post today came from Shopify CEO at Tatabi. He looked at those perfect physics Olympiad scores and basically said, who cares?
Wow.
He is arguing that the video game Factorio, specifically version 0.3.0 of the Factorio learning environment, is the correct and final evil for AGI.
That sounds absurd on the surface. You're telling me an international quantum physics exam is easier for an AI than a factory-building video game?
Yes, and the mechanism of why is crucial to understand here. A physics exam is static. You read a prompt, and you use your vast training data to predict the next logical token in a mathematical proof.
Okay, I follow.
If you make a tiny error, maybe you get partial credit, but the test doesn't change. Factorio is dynamic. It tests long horizon planning, spatial reasoning, and error recovery. In Factorio, an AI agent has to write Python code to build an automated factory, place conveyor belts on a 2D grid, and manage a supply chain.
And the models fail at that.
Miserably. Toby points out frontier models still have massive 23 to 41% error rates just trying to debug basic virtual factories.
That's a huge error rate.
Right, because if an AI places a conveyor belt facing the wrong direction in minute 1, the entire supply chain collapses in minute 10. The AI lacks the spatial awareness and the temporal reasoning to trace that compounding error backward and fix it.
The environment fights back.
Exactly. That is exactly why Google's Gemini is struggling with real-world enterprise tasks. Real life is Factorio. It's messy, dynamic, and compounding. It is not a multiple-choice test.
That completely reframes how we should look at AI capabilities. And I think it transitions us perfectly into our final segment, culture and society.
Let's do it.
How are we humans actually living with these systems and trying to steer them? Because we clearly don't fully understand them. There's a brilliant practical tip today from @Daniel Lockyer. If you use AI, you know it uses this annoying, flowery gaslighting language.
Oh, I hate it. Everything is a tapestry.
Right. Everything is a smoking gun or a tapestry of innovation. Well, Lockyer found a hack. If you prompt the AI to strictly use ASD STE 100,
Rolls right off the tongue.
which is a simplified technical English standard created in the 1980s for aerospace maintenance manuals, the AI drops all the flowery garbage. You get pure, unambiguous clarity.
The reason that works is fascinating, though. By forcing the LLM into the ASD SDE 100 standard, you are drastically restricting its available vocabulary space.
It just can't reach those words.
It literally isn't allowed to access the statistical pathways that lead to words like tapestry. It's a great workflow hack, but it highlights something darker. We are using 1980s airplane mechanic manuals to try and tame black box neural networks. We are just guessing at how to steer this thing.
And we need to figure out that steering wheel immediately because the stakes are no longer just drafting clear emails. At MTS Live reported a massive milestone out of Stanford and the Arc Institute today.
This one is wild.
Scientists used an AI model called EVO to design entirely new kinds of bacteriophage viruses. And they didn't just design them on a screen, they synthesized them in the lab.
Viable viruses.
Yeah, 16 of these AI-generated viruses are viable, and they successfully infect and kill E. coli bacteria.
Let's unpack the mechanism here because it is terrifyingly simple. EVO is fundamentally similar to the AI that writes your emails, but instead of the English alphabet, it was trained on the DNA alphabet, A, C, T, and G.
So it's just predicting the next letter.
It learned the statistical patterns of how those biological letters fit together to create life. It is predicting the next sequence in a genome the exact same way ChatGPT predicts the next word in a sentence.
Which sounds incredible for medicine, right? I mean, if we can custom design phages, we can bypass antibiotic-resistant bacteria.
On the first order, yes, everyone claps for phage therapy. On the second order, I'm looking at the regulatory framework for biosecurity, and it is completely unprepared for this.
Because it's open weight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Currently, biosecurity relies on monitoring who has physical access to known dangerous pathogens in secure labs. What happens in 12 months when open-weight genomic models start running on decentralized hardware?
Oh, man.
The danger isn't a terrorist stealing a vial from a lab. The danger is a novel, highly complex pathogen being generated on a gaming laptop in someone's basement. We have absolutely no infrastructure to regulate AI-synthesized genomes.
That is the extremely dark side of the physical frontier. But on the flip side, this technology is still inspiring genuine, profound awe. Paul Graham, at Paul Guerra, shared that his wife Jessica bought a new Tesla today.
Okay.
She tried the self-driving feature, and he described her experience as the usual religious revelation. He pointed out how rare it is that a 23-year-old company can still generate that level of startup-like amazement.
That religious awe isn't just a nice feeling, though. It is the exact currency driving the next wave of massive capital expenditure.
People want to live in the future.
They do, and they will fund the infrastructure to get there. You see the exact same dynamic in space exploration right now.
Right. Peter Diamandis was posting about the new NASA administrator, Jared Isaacman. And just for context for the listener, Isaacman was nominated for the role under the Trump administration in late 2025. He's the billionaire who commanded those private SpaceX missions, and he brought a highly aggressive commercial mindset with him to NASA. Diamandis praised Isaacman's new exponential roadmap, which heavily prioritizes using AI-enabled probes and advanced robotics to build out a moon base before human arrivals.
The heart.
Diamandis called it a Star Trek-like advancement.
It connects right back to our first story with Chamath and Tesla's Terafab. Isaacman understands the assignment. You don't send fragile, expensive humans to do the heavy lifting of industrializing space.
You send the robot.
You send the robotics powered by the terawatts of AI compute being built on Earth. You establish the power grid and the infrastructure on the moon first. The awe is the marketing. The infrastructure is the reality.
And as we push these boundaries in space and biology, you can feel this desperate societal tug-of-war for security back down on Earth. Jack Dorsey, at Jack, is hyping up Bitkey's new 2 of 3 multi-sig Bitcoin wallet today. He's pitching it as ultimate peace of mind.
Let's explain multisig for the listener because it's vital. Traditionally, if you lose your single seed phrase, your crypto password, you lose all your money.
Nightmare scenario.
A 2 of 3 multisig means there are 3 separate keys. Maybe one is on your phone, one is on a dedicated hardware device, and one is held by the company. You need any 2 of them to move funds.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right. If you lose your phone, you still have the hardware device and the company backup. It mathematically eliminates a single point of failure.
It is tangible security in a very chaotic digital world. But then, right next to Dorsey pitching hard security, you have the @Gemini app account frantically extending their free Omni video creation promo for another week, basically begging users to please make more AI videos on their phones.
It is a perfect encapsulation of the tech industry today.
Isn't it?
Dorsey is building cryptographic infrastructure for self-sovereignty, while Google, terrified of that model collapse we discussed earlier, is desperately juicing consumer engagement metrics with free promos to prove to Wall Street they are still relevant. One is building a foundation, the other is blowing smoke.
What a massive spectrum we've covered today. We started with the harsh reality that physical power on the grid is the new kingmaker in AI, leaving hyperscalers scrambling and neoclouds vulnerable.
Yep.
We saw how this paradigm shift is boosting management software like Atlassian while exposing deep structural cracks in Google's models. We dug into the developer wars over thin standards and realized that acing a static physics exam doesn't mean an AI can navigate the spatial reality of a video game like Factorio.
Not even close.
And finally, we looked at how this tech is seeping into our physical reality, from AI designing new biological viruses to the religious awe of self-driving cars and robotic moon bases.
It is a lot to digest.
It really is.
But if you want a specific, actionable prediction for tomorrow, based on everything we've synthesized today, look at the energy sector. Watch for traditional utility companies and nuclear operators to start trading like high-growth tech stocks.
All right. Utilities.
Yes. These hyperscalers are getting incredibly desperate to feed their AI ambitions. They will pay any premium necessary to acquire captive power generation. The next great tech monopoly won't be a software platform. It will be a power company.
The next great tech monopoly is a power company. As always, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the consensus and look past the shiny press releases to see who is actually laying the groundwork.
Absolutely.
And as you go about your day, think about this. If an AI can design a brand new viable virus from scratch by predicting biological letters, but it completely short-circuits trying to fix a virtual conveyor belt in a video game,
Right.
maybe we need to completely redefine what we consider intelligent. Are we actually building a digital mind, or have we just built a really fast dictionary? We'll see you tomorrow.